Well, here we are at our final session. You guys, wow, what a journey the last 6 weeks have been for you and for me. I am so incredibly proud if you have made it to this last video, because that means that you are a person who is going to finish strong. And this session is going to be a really special session. In fact, it's probably going to be my favorite of all of them, because as you can tell, seated with me here at this table are some friends and family. And in just a moment, I'm going to explain why specifically they are here at this table with me. But we do need to finish up just a little bit of the Bible teaching of Noah. So where we left off in the last session, we saw that Noah was able to find the familiar faithfulness of God and how we can find it in our own lives every single day. Even though there's not going to be a rainbow every day, we can look back and see God's faithfulness in our lives. So here's the thing. I wish I could tell you that after Noah and his family exited the ark, there was this amazing long period of time where humanity finally got it right. But actually, it was the complete opposite. In fact, as Noah himself exits the ark, we see a very human side of Noah come out. And I talked with you about some of the reasons why possibly Noah found himself in that sticky situation in the tent. And we wrestled through maybe some of the reasons of why he got to that point, okay? But then we start to see Noah lay down a blessing and a curse over his family. And we talked this week about the need to speak blessings over each other. And speaking blessing is going to be so important as we look at this last little part about building our legacy. So from Genesis chapter 9 to Genesis chapter 10, we see that a new generation, a new generational line of Noah starts to come through. And his children have children, and their children have children, and there is this huge multiplication of people. But then we see just a few generations after Noah that one of Noah's descendants actually is responsible for building the Tower of Babel that we see in Genesis chapter 11. And we don't have the time in this Bible study to get into all the details about the Tower of Babel, but it was so interesting to me to see that Noah was a man who built his life out of faith, but then his descendants were someone who built things out of fear. The Tower of Babel was built because they wanted to reach heaven. And there was even some Bible scholars who wondered if one of the reasons why they built the tower was so that in case a flood ever came again, they would be able to escape it. But we know, based on the promise that God gave us in the scriptures, that he would never allow that to happen again. But it reminds me of this sober reality that it is so easy from one generation to the next generation for something to be missed. And so it is so important for me today to talk to you a little bit about the legacy that was left for me, but then to tell you about these people here at my table and why they're part of my legacy. All right, so I don't know if you've noticed this, but in every one of the videos that we've had, there was this blue book that was sitting in every single session. This is called Memoirs in the Attic, and it was actually written by my mom's mom, my grandmother. Now, this is not a traditionally published book. It's not something you would ever find in a bookstore or even on Amazon. This is just a book that my grandmother put together of different stories of raising 7 kids and what that was like. And she shares some of the funny things that happened and how much she hated sweeping the kitchen floor. And when my grandmother died, my aunt actually put together this beautiful book because my grandmother always wanted to be a writer. And even though in the generation that she lived, my grandmother never saw this actual book, I'm here today in the next generation and I'm holding this book. And it's a beautiful thing for me to have these words from her. And it's a beautiful thing to know that even though I can't invite her to this table, I still get to choose who I invite to my table to help build my legacy. So I'm sure you're curious, who are these people that are sitting at this table with me? Well, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to tell you exactly why each of them are sitting here. First, we have my husband, Chris. Chris, you and I are building a legacy through our 3 daughters. and it's not always easy. It's not always fun. But we are believing that this land and this farm and our girls, that there's going to be something different coming through our generation. We have stood in faith on some of the generational curses that have been passed down from one generation to the next, and we have said no more with our family. And we're seeing a glimpse of God's faithfulness. Doesn't mean it's not hard, but it's been a glimpse. Christy D. Christy is the one who I shared with you in the book, that we went to go pray over a man that was dying to be healed. And he wasn't healed in the way that we had hoped that he would be healed. We know that he's healed in heaven, obviously. But Christy is somebody that I bring to my table every chance that I can get, because she helps me believe that it's possible. And so Christy is such a rock in my life. Then we have my own Bible teacher, Rick Parker, which he laughs so hard that I call him that, but that is what he is. Rick, every Sunday night, we gather together in your living room or Christy's living room, and we worship and we pray and we believe that God's going to do something good in our generation. And I will tell you this, you heard many things come out of my mouth over these Bible study videos that came from Rick Parker. Got to give credit where credit is due. But Rick helps me understand the importance of gathering and getting in the presence of other people who believe big things for the kingdom of God. Thank you for being that for me, Rick. Deidre, I invited you here because just a couple months ago, we took a huge leap of faith together, and we decided that we were going to have a revival out here on our farm. And that night, as I watched you worship and you lead us in worship, I saw a woman who stands in faith. And I was so inspired and encouraged to have you here at my table tonight, because your legacy through your girls and through your ministry and through your worship, it inspires me to remember that I have to keep going, and we have to do bold, big things sometimes. And so I'm so grateful for what you did that night and what you do all the time to encourage so many people around us to keep going. Taylor, Hope, and Kennedy, my girls, you are here at this table tonight because you are the legacy that we are leaving. You are part of what I believe God is going to do in this generation. And it is not easy being a mama to the three of you. But it is a joy to know that all of you love the Lord. And it is a great privilege to pray for you. It is a great privilege to sacrifice for you. And it is a great privilege to invest into you because we believe so much in this generation. Rebecca, the reason why I invited you to sit at this table tonight is because you are a woman who wrestled with me through the words and flooded. You guys, she's only 20 years old, and she just got into the trenches with me, and you pushed me in such a good way. And I think when I think about you, I think about how sometimes we need people sitting at our table who are going to push us to do our best God-given assignment. And so I'm so grateful for what you taught me through this writing process and the way that you just kind of fit right into our family. And I know that you are a woman who is building your own legacy, and God has such incredible things for you. I cannot wait to see what comes through your generational line. So everyone at this table is important to me, obviously. And I wish that I could sit with you and you tell me every person in your life that you would want to invite to this table. And reality is, I would probably have more people at this table, but we had to make cuts somewhere. And I think, though, that it's so important just to remember to keep bringing people into your story. So you guys, here's the final part of this video teaching. I shared with you guys in the last chapter of the book, Flooded, the story of our horse story and how he came to us. But this really ties into what we're doing here tonight, because sometimes we don't even realize the people who are sitting around us and what they can do to our lives if we access them in the right way. So we brought Story home, and Story was giving Kennedy a little bit of a hard time. A really hard time. And so we started asking around, who is somebody who can help us train this horse? And sometimes I think we need to do that when we're looking for people to invite into our own legacy, our own process. We just need to ask, like, who do I need to bring to my table? And so we came across this horse whisperer. His name is Jacob. And Jacob had Story come live on his farm for a month to go through horse boot camp. Isn't that so interesting that horses can go through boot camp too? But here's the most amazing thing that happened. When we got Story over to Jacob's farm, Jacob saddled him up and he got on top of him and started to kind of wiggle him around. And what we soon realized was that Story was not just an ordinary horse. He is actually a really fancy horse. And Story is a Western pleasure horse. But what we didn't realize was that Story was trained and conditioned to ride Western pleasure. And so as soon as Jacob got up there, he felt that familiarness of that type of horse. And so he grabbed the reins and he started to do all of this fancy stuff. And we were sitting there and we were like, whose horse is this? Like, we had never seen anything like it before. And I realized in that moment, like, sometimes we just need the right person to sit at our tables to show us what we need to do. And Jacob was able to teach Kennedy how to do all of these fancy things with Story. And he's back home on the Fixer Upper farm, living out his own story. So as we close out this journey and as we close out this process, I'm excited. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about your futures. I'm excited about your future because God is showing us through the biblical account of Noah that his faithfulness reaches into every generation, but it's up to us to carry it from one to the next. Well, as we've come to the end of our study, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys for being here with me tonight. And I just want to challenge you. Keep using these 5 decisions every single day so that you can keep inviting the right people to your table to build a legacy that will last. It has been a joy to walk through the biblical account of Noah with you. I'm excited and I'm passionate about what the Lord is going to do in your life through your obedience. Keep going. There's going to be a beautiful rainbow at the end of the sacrifice. The promise is coming.